Hey guys, welcome back to Raccoon here today with a new video on Marvel Rivals. This video is going to be going over all the abilities of almost all the characters. I know the title says all, but you can only put so many words in the title. We are missing 4 characters, I apologize, but we have everyone else, and the closed alpha is going to be available for those that got in on the 10th, and you'll be able to see the ones that I'm missing. But for now, these got leaked early. I don't even have access to the alpha, but I do have some footage to show you guys of all the characters and their abilities and how they're going to play when the game comes out. Alright, starting off with the Hulk. Heavy blow, you just punch right in front of you. He's like a melee type character. Now here's his ultimate. This is Hulk Smash. It'll transform you from Hero Hulk into Monster Hulk for a limited time period. So now he's extra powered up, extra damage on all his abilities. This is Indestructible Guard. You can generate gamma shields for Hulk and his nearby allies that absorbs damage and converts it into energy for Hulk, that it says. And then you can do radioactive lockdown to stun a character and immobilize them. It's quite a long stun. You also have Incredible Leap, so you can hold your jump down and do a big jump, kind of like Winston from Overwatch. You also have Gamma Burst, which is his ability that allows to hit from a range. So there's Gamma Burst. And then you have Gamma Boost as his team-up ability, where he can boost Doctor Strange or Iron Man and make their attacks stronger, which is pretty cool. And you can do both at the same time, just passively by being near them. They get powered up with gamma radiation. Now, when the Hulk takes enough damage, he actually turns into Bruce Banner. So after this clip showing, mixed abilities with the Hulk, that's a pretty sick move. You can slam an opponent around. Imagine getting flailed around by the Hulk. You turn into Banner, and this is kind of like Diva, so he can shoot as Banner with a little ray gun. And then once his ultimate charges up enough, he will turn back into the Hulk. So just like Diva, the only difference really being that he also has a gamma grenade on his left shift when he's in banner mode, banner form. He can throw a little grenade that knocks back enemies and himself. So that's kind of a movement ability as well to get yourself out of danger when you're Bruce Banner mode. So Banner's ultimate turns him into Hulk, and Hulk's ultimate turns him into Monster Hulk. You can see here his abilities are powered up and completely different while he's Monster Hulk. Kind of, again, like Winston in his ultimate, you knock people back with your normal left click, and then you can grab someone like in the Avengers and slam them around. There you go, with your Q. Your radioactive lockdown is even stronger in this form as well. It stuns the enemy and does damage to them. Your leap is also still here. You can still do that move. And then your gamma burst is still there as well, except even stronger. Now let's move on to the Punisher. This character is a bit of a shooter blaster, Soldier 76 type character. So your left click, you're going to just be able to shoot normally like you would in a shooting game. Now, he can also use a shotgun, so he has a shotgun for up close and an assault rifle for far away, which is pretty sweet that he has 2 different weapons. And then your ultimate on Q is to do 2 Gatling guns and missiles, so he kind of goes crazy, but it seems like he's either rooted in place or slowed down or something as well when he does that. His movement ability is a grapple like that he can get across the map. And then his E is that he can puts down a turret that roots you in place, that it does an insane amount of damage, but you're stuck there on the turret as long as you use it. Right click is a smoke grenade, which is pretty cool. You do that, it does a bit of a smoke there, not for very long, but you can see that he can see them through his smoke. So that also applies to enemies that just as they go to vision, you get walls on them for a little bit of time, and that'll work if they're moving too. So if someone tries to jiggle peek you, you can actually pre-fire them and know that they're going to do that. Now their team up is with Rocket Raccoon. It powers up his ability, his weapons, while he's in that ability of rockets there. Moving on to Storm. Here she is. She's got a normal left click that is a sort of ranged wind blade ability that will collateral through enemies and seems to do a lot of damage as well. She has a ultimate here called a Mega Hurricane, where she can pick an AoE like this and do a massive amount of damage, transforming into a hurricane. It sucks in enemies and does insane damage. Pretty much a sight clearing, very strong ability. You also have your left shift to switch the weather to empower allies. The tornado grants a movement boost around her, and thunder grants a damage boost around her, kind of like Lucio. You can see that huge ring around her. Her E channels the power to empower herself instead of the people around her. So you can switch between damage boost or movement boost with shift, and then you can switch between other people or yourself with E for a short amount of time. And then your right click is a lightning bolt. And that is Storm. Pretty powerful looking character. Here's Loki now. We're moving on to Loki. I have a video fully showing Loki as well on the channel if you want to check that out. You can shoot your teammates to heal them or enemies to damage them, which is pretty cool. He's got a ranged attack. Now his ultimate is that he can pick any enemy on the other team and switch into them, getting their kit and their ultimate fully charged as well. So you can pick and choose from the enemy roster that you're against per match what ultimate you want to use for yourself, which is pretty interesting. Now his left shift will put a healing ring around himself that converts damage taken into healing. So anyone's getting damaged in that will get healed. It goes around him or any of his clones as well, like all of them at the same time. So you can put your illusion here on your E, or the illusion on your right click as well, but you can put that one there, and then if you use your shift, it'll put a healing ring around the illusion and around yourself. So you can like put your illusion on site and you can be off site. And then he has this F1 that he can swap with any of his two illusions, switch positions with them. And then he's got a V backstab move that is just basically a melee attack that does more damage if you're behind someone. And then his right click makes another clone right where he's standing. It makes himself invisible, and then he can switch with them anytime as well, that same one, because it will remain standing there. Both the clones have 250 health, just like Loki himself, and they will both attack enemies as well. They kind of stand there as stationary turrets. You can see in the footage here when he goes invisible and his other clones, they will actually mirror your attacks. So they'll shoot at whoever you're shooting at, they'll melee, they'll put the healing down, they will do what you're doing, which is pretty cool. So you can all shoot at one enemy with 3 times as much. Now his passive is with Hela team up ability. Whenever Hela lands a final hit in killing an enemy, she can instantly resurrect Loki. And if Loki's alive, a crow will fly to him, giving him armor instead. Kind of insane. So if you have a Hela and a Loki on your team, if you're near each other and Loki just died, Hela will kill someone, it'll bring Loki back. It's kind of insane. If you're going to be playing Loki or Hela, you should have the other one as well on your team. Moving on to Doctor Strange here. Here's the daggers of 𝐑𝐢𝐸. This is his normal attack. It seems to do an insane amount of damage. 𝐼𝐸 will do an AoE that separates the souls from their bodies of people around you, and if you can hit the soul, it does even more damage than if you were hitting them, but it's a very short amount of time and a little bit harder to hit as it goes back to their body like that. You can also fly, which is kind of cool. A brief state of flight, it says anyways. You have your E that will just do damage around you, releases dark magic to deal damage to nearby enemies. It seems like it builds up on your cape, so the more you do damage, you can see the meter in the middle will build up, and then you can blast that out around you. Now you can also use him kind of like Sombra and make 2 different portals, just like he would in the MCU, for example. And what's really cool with this is you can see it's actually a real-time rendering the other side of the portal right in front of you, and you can jump right through like that. Kind of insane tech and very useful as well. Now you can also make a shield like Reinhardt here and have this shield up. The health for your shield's in the bottom and it regenerates slowly. It starts at 1600, and here is his passive. Dark magic accumulates with every hit on an enemy. If it's not released, he will enter a state of anti-heal. But you can just hit E and release that anytime, it would seem. Probably a cooldown on the E though, I suppose. Now if you have a Hulk on your team and you're nearby, you'll get charged up with gamma radiation. When you hit your E, it'll do even more damage, which is pretty interesting as well. Moving on to Mantis. I really like Mantis's kit. She's got Fire Thorn that will do damage, and it gives her 1 life orb after a critical hit, so after a headshot. You can see in the center of the screen there below your reticle, she has orbs that sort of stack up as she does headshots. Now with her Q, she can provide healing over time and a movement boost for her surrounding allies for a short amount of time. With her left shift, she can stun and sedate an enemy for a little bit of time. They just get stunned in place and then they wake up. And now you can use those orbs that you get for getting headshots to grant a damage boost to allies with your E, or using F, you can give yourself a damage boost. You can see the orbs in the middle of the screen, and then yeah, F will give yourself a damage boost, E will give it to a friendly. Or you can right click and send a healing orb, so one of those will also get used up to give your friendlies healing over time. So she's a pretty powerful thing, kind of like Anna. You can give them a damage boost or a healing boost over time, or yourself a damage boost. Pretty interesting character. And then you also get a movement boost when you're not injured, and healing over time when you consume life orbs, so you can heal yourself as well with your orbs. Moving on to Rocket Raccoon, you have a left click that's just shooting, normal shooting action. It's pretty strong too. And then right click will shoot spheres to heal allies as well, so you can hit a little right click, shoots an orb that'll heal your teammates. Pretty powerful. That you can, a lot of these characters have damage dealing and healing options, which is really cool because there are no dedicated healers in the game. Q will drop a damage boost amplifier where everyone around that will get higher damage. He also has a movement ability of shift. It seems to have 2 charges that let you dash around, Genji-esque. And then he has a BRB Battle Rebirth beacon, kind of insane. It will revive a fallen ally, and it also produces armor packs and rocket jetpacks. So it'll, like Torbjorn, armor your allies, but it'll also revive an ally, which is pretty insane. He has a passive where he can run up a wall, and then he also has a passive where he can kind of like slow descend hover using his jetpack, and you should be able to use your abilities while you're doing that as well. He can team up with Rocket and Groot by climbing on Groot's shoulders, where he will receive a damage reduction, but he's still able to shoot and everything from on Groot's shoulders, which is pretty cool. And then his other team up ability is the one you saw earlier, where he throws down a ammo overload device that buffs the Punisher's damage when he's nearby, and when they add other shooting characters, probably will work about the same. And moving on to Hela. Hela looks like an insanely powerful DPS character. She throws her thorns with her left click. It seems to do a crazy amount of damage. Here's her ultimate. She becomes massive over the battlefield and can do huge damage and not take any damage herself. That lasts for a little while and then ends. Kind of like Pharah, but she also can't be hurt when she's like that. And then her shift movement ability is to dash forward as a crow. Her E projects an explosive that stuns nearby enemies. It's an AoE stun, which is also pretty strong. Her right click shoots multiple thorns, and then they all detonate for AoE damage after a delay. And then her passive is that killing an enemy makes an AoE explosion around them. And then she has the same sort of falling slow ability too, where she can hold space to slowly descend. And her passive, like we said earlier, is that when she kills an enemy, she brings Loki back to life or gives him a bit of armor. So you can see Loki was just killed, and then he's back. That's going to be so broken. But there it is. Moving on to Black Panther. His normal attack is Vibranium Claws, where he just slashes in front of him for decent damage here as well. And then his ultimate is to summon Bast, pouncing forward, dealing damage, and putting a Vibranium Mark on enemies. Vibranium Mark combos with his other abilities, like his Sprint Ren to lunge forward and deal damage. And if you hit someone with that mark, you get the dash back. Kind of like Genji, where if you get a kill, you get your dash back. It's the same with Black Panther. If they have that mark on them, which you can hit them with this E, which also gives them a dash, and it'll give them a mark, and that'll make it so then you can combo with your shift to like do even more dashes through them. If you hold space, you can run up walls with him as well. And then you do a spear toss with right click that gives you a bit of range damage that way. It does AoE Vibranium marks as well, which, as we know, power him up with everything else he's already doing. And his passive is that when he's got lower health, he does more damage, which is also pretty interesting. Seems like a pretty powerful character to, dip in and out and move around and stuff like that if you're used to playing Genji. His team-up ability is Dahlia Disc with magic, where she can make a portal that her or Black Panther can use. Moving on to Groot. Groot's normal attack is Vine Strike, where he can hit from a range pretty far away and for a pretty high amount of damage with his normal attack. His ultimate is Strangling Prison. It's a massive vine cluster that pulls enemies in and stuns them and does a lot of damage. Of course, while they're like that, you can attack them with your other abilities too. His left shift is a Thorn Wall, and when it's awakened, it strikes nearby enemies attacked by Groot and his allies. So there's walls there, and when he attacks, the walls attack them as well, which is kind of cool. It'd be pretty sweet to do some sort of pinches with that. Now he has the Ironwood wall, that when that one is awakened, it grants bonus health to Groot when nearby enemies take damage. So you can see it's overcharging Groot as he's damaging the enemies near the walls. I don't even know where you would begin to play with those walls. There's going to be some Galaxy Brain stuff, kind of like May, but the walls actually do something for you as well. Now you saw his right click was just an AoE explosion kind of grenade. His passive is that wooden walls near Groot will awaken, doing their extra effect, so it just, goes along with his other abilities. And then his team up, we already know, is Rocket riding on his shoulders. The really crazy thing though is that you can build the walls not just vertically but also in ramps, and you can go Fortnite mode on people like this, crank a nice 90, build a ramp. It's gonna be pretty interesting. Moving on to Magic. Magic looks like one of those insanely overpowered characters. She has a normal slash that's pretty slow but does heavy damage with her soul sword. And now her ultimate ability is called Dark Child, where she transforms into Dark Child, gaining enchantments to all her abilities. But for now, her normal ability, Shift, is to jump through a stepping disc, teleporting a short distance in the direction that she's moving. She has an Umbral Incursion dash, and it also launches an enemy upward at the end of the dash, so she could of course combo into that. She has a left click that you can spin while swinging the sword after exiting the disc, so kind of an AoE hit as you dash into battle. You can also use your right click to do a forward air slash that gives you some sort of range, but it's quite the delay. And you can also see that you can do a right click to summon a Limbo Demon that attacks enemies after you come out of the disc. So if you do your right click right after disking, it's also its own ability. And then her passive, this is what makes her really broken. You probably noticed it in the bottom this whole time. Any amount of damage she does is transformed into bonus health for herself. So you're in there doing insane damage to people right in their face, and you're overhealing yourself while you do it. Kind of insane. This is that portal that her and Black Panther can use. That's the passive team up ability. Now moving on to Luna Snow. Here we are. She's got her light and dark ice shots that damage enemies or heal allies, just like how Loki works, except for it's sort of a burst fire. Seems to be insane damage as well. Now her Q is that she starts dancing, and you can either heal enemies or damage boost them around where you're doing your little dance production, but it seems to root you in place, which is a bit rough, but it does do an AoE buff to everyone around you. She has ice arts, which fire ice shards for a short duration that damage enemies or heal allies, and you can collateral with these, so you can see she's damaging and she's healing her teammate with the one shard. She also has an E that will attach an idle aura to an ally. Allies with idle aura also restore health when Luna Snow is healing others. So you can put that on one teammate, the aura, and then when you heal a different teammate, they'll both get healed, which is pretty sweet. She can do a right click to do a freeze on an enemy and restore her own health by doing that. Another stun ability, which seems pretty strong. Passive is that she automatically restores health when she's casting ice arts or absolute zero, so that's her right click or her left shift. She will heal. And then she also has a Frozone style passive, where once you've been running in one burst for long enough, you'll start skating and you'll speed up how fast you can get around, get in and heal your teammates faster. And she can also, using her team up ability, empower Namor, which buffs some of his abilities with ice instead of just water, giving them more damage. Moving on to Iron Man, here he is. He's got his left click repulsor blast. And you can also fly while you do these, which is pretty sweet. Bunch of damage with a little bit of AoE. His right click is his Unibeam, which seems to kind of root him in spot, but do an insane burst of damage to whoever you want to aim at while you do that. His Q, his ultimate, is the Invincible Pulse Cannon that makes a huge blast in a certain AoE. His movement ability is that you can switch to hypervelocity and fly around the battlefield like that. It doesn't seem to be too fast or anything, but allows you to get around a bit quicker, make you harder to hit. His E is to activate Armor Overdrive that boosts his Repulsor Blast and his Unibeam. So this is just a cooldown for 10 seconds. It makes your left click and your right click stronger. Seems pretty powerful, and makes you a lot stronger. Now you also saw his F go into effect there whenever you use hypervelocity, so that's flying fast forward, or the armor overdrive, you can also choose to hit your F and drop a bunch of missiles. Now there, it didn't seem to do much damage, not gonna lie, but if you use it like this, it's some decent extra AoE damage mixed in with your other abilities. We also already know that if a Hulk is nearby, all of your abilities are stronger when you do use that armor overdrive, so making your left click, right click even stronger on top of the normal buff. And here we are with Spider-Man, the most overpowered character in the game with the most abilities you'll ever see. His left click is a normal, just melee combo. It's clear Spider-Man is a bit of a favorite, which he deserves it. His Q is to launch web clusters all around him that damage and stun enemies. Seems to be very strong. That's his ultimate. His left shift, you can web swing a massive distance. That much movement in a game like this seems incredibly strong. His E is that you can either shoot an enemy and web pull them into you, or if they're marked with a spider tracer, which we'll get to, you will go to them instead. Now your F is that you launch the enemies around you into the air, which you can combo that of course, but you do extra damage to someone with a spider tracer. His passive is that he can double jump. His right click is a web cluster that does damage from a range and attaches that spider tracer, which will then buff all your other abilities. He has spider sense that will warn him if an enemy is nearby, seems also very strong. And then he has another passive to climb walls, just like a few of the other characters here. So many abilities, and that web swing especially is so strong that you can just get around the battlefield so fast. It seems nuts. Sadly though, this is where the leaker lost connection to the servers, so I don't have the last characters, but I was able to find Scarlet Witch's moveset. We'll get onto that one now. So her left click is to use chaos magic to attack enemies and restore chaos energy. Just basically a hold left click, hit scan seeming attack. Her Q is that she can engage in free flight. This is her ultimate, and she'll charge energy and then do a huge AoE blast, and the range on that seems massive. That's her ultimate. Now her left shift is to enter projection state for free flight, and then you can exit early whenever you want. So she can fly, and I'm assuming is invisible to enemies as well, or at least harder to see. And then her E is that you land a hit on a target or the scene, so anywhere on the map, and then you can press again to make a force field that stuns enemies within that range. So you can see it's an AoE stun that you can also like set as a mine and trigger yourself. Now she has the same sort of slow descent move that Hela and Rocket both have, which is pretty cool. And her right click is to consume the chaos energy to fire explosive magic missiles that do huge damage and AoE. So you want to use your left click, charge it up, and then your right click to do huge damage, back to your left click. That's sort of an idea. And that is all the characters that I have footage of for right now. Like I said, the closed alpha is going to go open on the 10th for those that have a key. I shouldn't say open, but you can have access to it if you have a key on the 10th, but I thought I'd get this stuff out early for you guys. I am missing Magneto, Namor, Star-Lord, and Peni Parker, but I do have all of their skins and all of the characters in the closed alpha skins in a different video that's going to come up here at the end or in the description for you if you want to check that out. And now I do not have a key to the alpha, and I don't think I'm getting one, sadly, so I'm not going to be able to make more videos on the game until it comes out or there's an open beta or something like that. But I am going to be making more Marvel Rivals content, and like I said, I'm not trying to clickbait you with the title. This is just all we have right now, so those last 4 characters, those you'll be able to see in only a couple days here on the 10th and onward, once people who do have access can play them. But if you enjoyed this video, a little bit of an early look at all the abilities, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more from me. Comment down below which characters you're excited to try out, which ones you think are the most overpowered. I know we all want to get our hands on Spider-Man. I think he looks absolutely nuts. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out the other Marvel Rivals videos if you'd like, and subscribe if you want to help me out. If you want to see more videos down the line, I'm going to be doing a lot of content on this game once I can actually get my hands on it. Those of you that have a key, I wish you luck. I'm very jealous. That's about it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Now, you do get an extra key to give away once you hit a certain level in the closed alpha, so if anyone wants to give me that, I will give you infinite shoutouts and infinite love and praise for all of time. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you want to see more from me. New videos every other day. Love you guys.